Hey guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the daily forecast for all signs, right? It is available to you kind of when you see it, but it is originally created for February 19th, which is a Saturday. We've just had the Leo full moon. But if you're seeing this, a couple of years from now, some of this stuff may not pertain as far as astrologically. But if the reading makes sense to you when you're seeing it, take the reading over the date, right? I believe that we share energy collectively on the planet, as a consciousness kind of thing, human consciousness. And so this is kind of like your forecast of what's going on around us at this time. I also believe that there's a higher intelligence to spirit that can help us to find the messages when we need them rather than when, I create them. So if you're looking at a date that doesn't fit, to the date that you're on, that's okay. The reading still may be yours. If the reading does fit or it does make sense with something you're looking at, feeling, dealing with, whatever, great. Utilize it to the best of your ability. Use it to support you and validate you in things you may already be feeling, sensing, or knowing. Always make sure that you're making your own decisions and using the power of your own free will and decision making, using your highest intelligence and intuition when doing so. These readings aren't to replace your own intelligence. They're here to help support you in feeling as if whatever your intuition is telling you is indeed correct. Does that make sense? So use it as a sort of a secondary source of support rather than a primary source of decision making. So for those of you that are new, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my work. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I do daily content. Sometimes I go live. I have not been going live of recent. I don't know why that is, but the last few months I've just been feeling very much staying to myself. But when I do go live, you will be notified of it. If you like the reading, please hit the thumbs up button. It greatly helps me. And leaving me a question or comment also. I love to read them because it lets me know if you guys are relating to the work that I'm doing and if you're enjoying it or, any questions you have about it. I do read them all. And it also helps the algorithm in some way. I'm not sure. But YouTube will eventually push me out to maybe other viewers that might enjoy my content. And share the video too, please. If you know how to share it out onto your Facebook or your Facebook groups, places where it's acceptable to share, please do so on Instagram, whatever, because I'm not the most technologically savvy person. And Instagram, although I'm on there, I don't really know quite how to use it. So I'm a bit embarrassed to say that, but I don't know. I feel like Facebook is enough of a time suck, and Instagram is even that and then some. You can go down rabbit holes in Instagram that is just bizarre to me. TikTok's the same way. I find TikTok highly entertaining, but I can spend hours just watching random videos and then realize that I'm like, what did I just do? Where did I go with all of that? So there's only so many thirst traps and puppies you can look at before you start to realize, like, wait, I've got other things I need to do. Or at least in my world, that is. Happy Pisces season, you guys. It's the first day of Pisces season. I do film these the day before, so we are now officially in my season. So happy Pisces season. If you get a little weepy or emotional, don't worry. If you're highly intuitive during this season, don't worry. It's all part of being a Pisces. If you want to have a drink, I would suggest maybe not. But that's part of being a Pisces too. All right, so let's see what the cards have to say. We've had some really interesting cards this week. And let's see what the last message is for this week before we turn over to a new week. And what card are we getting today? Lady of Water. Okay. So this is our Queen of Cups, who would be associated with Pisces. She's water on water. We saw the Lady of Fire this week, right? During that Leo full moon. It's interesting that these cards are kind of corroborating to sort of what's going on astrologically in a weird way. The Lady of Water, or the Queen of Cups, to me, she's kind of She's obviously associated with the water signs, right? The element of water. She's associated with Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. I kind of personally associate her really with Pisces because she's double water. Queens are, in all of the suits, are connected to the water element just because they're the feminine queen, right? So she's highly emotional, highly intuitive. I oftentimes think of her as kind of self-care. She can be overly emotional at times, or maybe, forlorn even. Sometimes she'll come off in her card. Like this card looks a little forlorn to me, a little bit reflective, maybe is a better word. I don't necessarily know that she's forlorn, but she looks like she's kind of reflecting upon some things, looking at stuff and maybe looking at things and how she did things along the way, right? And what decisions did she make to get herself here? I don't necessarily get a sense of regret from her, right? But I do get this sense of honest, emotional reflection. And maybe that's what we should be doing at this time. I feel like, what was the underpinning card? Let me just look from our Sunday reading. And if you don't know what I mean about the Sunday reading, the Sunday reading will show up in the right-hand corner of this video at the end, and it is the underpinning energy of what's going on throughout the week, right? So underpinning her is the Queen of Swords. So we've seen 3 queens this week, and then all the rest of the cards were like major arcana. So it's interesting to me that we have all of these women, for lack of a better word, all of these like women coming in trying to show us different aspects of ourselves through probably our emotions, right? We had the Queen of Wands. We have the underpinning energy for the end of the week is the Queen of Swords, which is, to me, she is about intellect over the emotions, right? But then we have her kind of coupled here with the Queen of Cups, who's going to be about emotionally looking at things, right, today. We might be torn between our logical mind and our emotional self today. There could be not a fight per se, but a back and forth between what I should do logically and what I should do, what I feel like is the right thing to do emotionally for myself or for maybe a situation, someone else, that sort of a thing, right? Ultimately, we get to decide which one wins out or which voice we listen to. I kind of think we're supposed to be listening to the emotional voice only because the thing here is that the Queen of Swords is also connected to the emotions because she's a queen, right? She thinks logically, she's smart, she's intelligent, she communicates clearly, but she's also connected to the emotions being that Queen of Swords. She lets her intelligence or intellect lead, right? Her analytical thought lead. So underneath this, right, if we are feeling, I don't know, emotional or we're reviewing in some sort of way, shape, or form, I feel like she's doing like, not a life review, but that sort of a feeling, right? Reflecting upon, I don't know, the last week, the last month, the last year, whatever it is that you're looking back upon and maybe feeling your way through. Like, did I do that correctly? Did I handle that the best way I knew how? Was that the best? Is this the best situation for me to be in right now? I mean, these are the questions that I feel like this queen is bringing up to herself right now, emotionally. And then underneath there is the Queen of Swords, which says to me that somewhere underneath the emotion, there is a clarity of thought that we want to access or that we want to also bring along with us as we do this moment of reflection. Does that make sense? And it's interesting that I'm kind of stuck on this word reflection, or I feel like that's what she's doing as she's looking down in the card, because yesterday's stone was meditation. And so to me, meditation is a form of reflecting or looking, inward. And the Queen of Cups is going to be about feeling our emotions, not hiding them, not stopping them. She's going to be highly intuitive, right? She's going to be highly keyed in, senses up, feeling her way through whatever it is she's dealing with. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If we are feeling our way through a situation right now, we still have the intelligence and the clarity of the Queen of Swords underneath here. Does that make sense? So we've got 2 really powerful, for lack of a better term, feminine energies that are at work, working to serve us to make more informed, better sort of decisions. Both queens, I associate all of the queens sort of with, that more feminine aspect of nurturing, mothering, caring for ourselves. So we should be able to clearly determine what it is that we might need in this situation. If we're feeling like we're lacking, or there's maybe some sort of a focus emotionally that we might need to take during this time, listen to that voice, right? Listen to that emotion that might be in you, even if it's something that might be a little bit, for some of you, it could be scary, it could be frightening, right? Sometimes the emotions can feel like, oh God, if I feel this, it's going to be out of control. And that's the one thing about Pisces. We're seen as being sort of emotionally sensitive, obviously. Sometimes we're misunderstood, I believe, because we can get so emotional. We feel, this is my perception of Pisces and solely my opinion, I believe that Pisces feels the emotions. I believe this about most of the water signs, but especially Pisces, we feel the emotions that everybody else attempts to avoid, right, in their life, because they're either too busy, they can't stop to get it done, they can't. Do you see what I'm saying? Where Pisces oftentimes we'll hit that wall of emotion and we'll fucking like feel it and get stuck in it. And that's when we look like to others sort of like crazy or overly emotional or, messy or whatever. And the truth is we're actually just dealing with life at an emotional level that most others can't, right? That's the true, like how I see the superpowers of the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, is they all deal with the world through an emotional reception or receptor that is deeper and a little bit more intense than the rest of, humanity in a way. Does that make sense? So today, the Queen of Cups shows up to remind all of us collectively that a little reflection, a little bit of emotion, checking in with our feelings, taking care of ourselves isn't such a bad thing. And that the Queen of Swords is going to show us our intelligence, our ability to communicate these emotions, whatever it is we might need, even if that's only to ourselves, right? In like saying like, okay, and I'm just using this as an example, this relationship isn't so good for me. I need to do something different. And I mean, when I say relationship, it could be romantic, it could be work relationship, it could be familial, whatever your situation may be. If it's not feeling right, the Queen of Swords underneath is going to help you to sort through some of the emotional stuff that the Queen of Cups presents to you today. So don't fear it, right? Feel it. Now, let's see what the Seeker's Oracle has to say. Just kind of let it come up today, especially at the beginning of Pisces seasons, because you're supposed to be feeling during this time. All right, we've got, interesting. This is a weird creature. Life's a juggle. So you guys might be having a little bit more of a time. He kind of gives me a little bit of the creeps, to be honest. And I don't know what he's holding. It looks like eggs that look kind of like grenades. I love the eye up here, but he's a little bit of a weird creature, and he's got these weird sort of bat wings. Life's a juggle, coupled with the Queen of Cups, makes me think that maybe we might be a little bit like tossed and turned a little. I'll read you Life's a Juggle in a minute, but I will say this, Pisces is depicted by the two fish swimming in different directions, right? And oftentimes that's why we come off as indecisive, because we're always looking at things from every perspective. Similar, Gemini's the same way. It's the only other duality in the zodiac, right? They overthink everything and can think and think and think, and that's how Gemini works. Pisces is similar. We feel everything from every different perspective, and then we make our decision, right? And oftentimes we can look like we're all over the place, but we're really not. These two cards together make me think that, we might be feeling the ebb and flow of Pisces season and feel a little bit emotional and feel unsure of ourselves. The Life's a Juggle guy kind of feels like, I don't know, I don't like him, to be honest. I'm interested to see his story. He feels like, as I look at him, he almost feels threatening to me in the sense that, could we make a wrong decision? I'm going to be honest with you guys there. I don't like to do that, and I don't like to make anybody nervous in my readings, but there might be something that's, we're feeling through right now where the decision might feel a little bit important. And I feel like he, to me, looks like the gatekeeper, like, ha, 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 you better make the right decision. Did we not see the devil this week? Because because he's giving me devil vibes. We did on Tuesday. Um, I don't know why. He's just sort of giving me like gatekeeper devil vibes. I don't like the way that he's staring me down in the card, and the way that his arms are crossed across his chest. I feel like there's a lesson to be learned here from him. I think that the lesson is not all bad, right? But it is a challenge. Does that make sense? So I'm going to read you his story. Who knows? Maybe he's not as bad as he appears, but let's see. I just don't. His vibe, and it's funny because he's all golden and light and beautiful. It could be that things appear worse than they actually really are. Is this card maybe, right? Like we might feel like the situation is more dire than it really is. And that's the golden nature of his card. He's actually maybe a friend rather than a foe, and we're misinterpreting it. But let's look at this. Life's a juggle. There's no question that we all lead busy lives. There's always something that needs to be done. And more often than not, there are multiple demands on our time and attention. We find ourselves multitasking and fulfilling various roles and responsibilities. Life has become a juggle. And unfortunately, it's made life a struggle for some of us. We have to accept that we all have our limits, and sometimes we need to say no instead of yes. We need to heed that feeling of being overwhelmed and stretched to the breaking point and ask for help. That could also be some of the Queen of Cups energy for some of you on the more emotional side of this stuff, guys. If no help is forthcoming, we need to adopt a policy of doing less to accomplish more and do things well. It is more prudent to do one task at a time and do it properly than it is to do several at the same time and have to repeat them because mistakes have been made. The last thing anyone wants to do is to have to start all over again because it was not done right in the first time. Are you taking on more than you can handle? If so, it might be prudent to lighten your load lest you end up with egg on your face. Interesting. I get more of this like he's challenging me as I'm looking at his card and his face. I don't know why. And then our grounding stone is the word embrace. So when I think about this in terms of the Queen of Cups, embracing our emotions right now, how we feel. Life is a juggle, it says here. A juggle, struggle, whatever. Embracing the challenges that we may have around us and understanding that maybe backing off a little bit might be the exact logic that the Queen of Swords wants to provide us with so that we can make better decisions or clearer choices. That we can feel less emotionally burdened if we are feeling a little bit heavy or overly emotional at this time. Ultimately, embracing wherever we're at and then allowing ourselves to be there and like self-caring from that point would be a very Queen of Cups thing to do, right? When we stop fighting or resisting against the things that we don't want around us is when they sort of loosen up and dissipate and move on. Does that make sense? And so we may have to understand that within ourselves at an emotional level. And then like once we understand that at the emotional Queen of Cups level, it becomes truth at the Queen of Swords level. We're able to embrace it and ground in that embracing of it. And then the juggle that we're experiencing or the gatekeeper sort of allows us to pass through whatever the situation is we might be holding on to. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, guys. Tomorrow's a new week, so we will have a new weekly for tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you guys then. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. All of you, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a question or comment. And, embrace it. Like ultimately, this idea of embracing is about acceptance, right? Accepting wherever you are emotionally, however your life may be. If it feels complicated and struggle bus, just embrace it, love it, and feel your way through it, and you'll be fine. Have a wonderful day, you guys, and take care. I love you all. Bye-bye.